get more aggressively oriented against corruption and so on? Other than providing a nice environment and encouraging a business-friendly environment, can government twist the arm of the companies to be more like our last speaker?
Well, I mean, government can. There are obviously a number of ways they can do that. Yes, I mean they can introduce regulations. They can make sure that corrupt payments are not actually tax deductible, as Mark mentioned. They have been until recently in some countries. But the key is that the governments can do is regulation, information, and enforcement. And I think we are now trying to do all those things.
I'd like to add just one little thing. In the 1980s, when the big economic change was underway and the Rust Belt was being created, I testified about 20 times before Congress. And it was surprising how often the same dynamic would come out. A Democrat would say, "Sir, isn't the real problem the military budget?" To which I would have to reply, "I can't compete with the military budget. I thought I came here to talk about homelessness and how we could reduce it." The Republican would say, "Sir, don't we really have a spiritual crisis in the country?" I'd say, "I came here for social policy, but if you want to come to my church some night, I think that's an important question." I think that era represented the economy change was the important value, and it had to run its course, and there just wasn't an interest in solving the people that weren't making it. So I think the answer is yes, but what I love about this assembly, as I said from the podium, it's very important that all the stakeholders are represented, and political process today has excluded the people at the bottom. They're just not at the table.
I would just add that for decades, it's been America alone with the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act that has contributed to this. But the OECD countries, including the UK, are stepping forward now and having more aggressive laws of their own. I mean, 1.6 billion is a pretty big nudge to encourage businesses to act in the right way. The UN has also stepped forward, and almost about 100 signatures have agreed to make engaging in corruption a criminal act, and to have sharing across the security forces of the countries, the police and investigative forces with other countries. And I think there's, I hope, a watershed where developing countries are realizing this is not good for them to have corruption. And so there's been much progress made in governments taking a much stronger, firmer view that we need to work together to combat corruption.
Have shared a great deal of